Hi, I'm Meredith Bell with Performance Support Systems, here with another tip on being strong for performance. Several years ago, I was coming home from work and there had been a storm from the northeast that sometimes can flood our road during high tide, and that happened to be the time I was coming home. And when I turned onto our road, sure enough, there was water on the road and there was a woman in a car in front of me who I paused because she kept going forward and backing up, going forward and backing up. And she finally, put her hand outside the window and motioned to me to go forward. And I thought, I'm just going to wait here a minute and see what she does rather than moving on. Well, a moment later, she got out of her car, slammed the door, stomped back to my side of my car, and I rolled down the window and she started yelling at me. She was so upset over the situation that she, had just kind of lost it in terms of maintaining her cool. And she said, well, you can go through if you want to, but I'm not going. And so I said, okay. So I thought, I've gone through this before. Let me just check how deep it really is. So I went up to the water and I noticed it was really only a few inches deep. So I very slowly went through with my foot off the accelerator. And when I got to the other side, I noticed looking back in my rearview mirror that she was still back there fretting over what to do. And it caused me to think about how often we work ourselves up into this kind of state of being upset. We lose our composure. We get anxious based on assumptions that we make about what's real and what isn't. And sometimes, of course, the worst doesn't happen. Often it doesn't happen, but we can spend a lot of energy worrying about, anticipating, assuming bad things are going to happen. And so instead of doing that, I would encourage you to ask yourself two questions when you start feeling that anxiety bubble up. The first one is to simply become aware. What assumptions am I making about this situation? And then second is, how can I test if these assumptions are actually true? Because oftentimes we are assuming the worst case, which is not going to happen. And now we've lost all this time and energy worrying. So instead, if you can ask those two questions, you can often discover some actions that you can take that will help you actually improve the outcome that you're afraid of, and instead get the outcome you'd really like to have. So I would just encourage you to think about those two questions the next time you start feeling anxious. And I bet that will help you get to a better place.